Then and switch to Arsenal, who the Marseille are in talks for star striker Victor Osimhen. Arsenal have discussed signing Victor Osimhen during talks with Galatasaray over the potential sales of Gabriel Martinelli and Ethan Nwaneri. What do you make of this one, Jack?
It's an interesting one. Osimhen's one of those players that crops up sort of every couple of years that, you know, fans decide we've got to have him. He's somebody that's going to set the world alight. You know, he's done well for Napoli and looked to be the one to move for a huge fee at the time. Arsenal have looked at him before. Chelsea were in for him and then ended up going off to Galatasaray. And we weren't, you know, everyone was quite surprised by the move that he made there because he was incredibly hot property. What would that have been a couple of summers ago now? But he's very much an unknown quantity for Premier League fans, Premier League teams. No one will have seen too much of him. So it's a hard one to judge quite how much of a difference he'd make to Arsenal. I think refreshing the front line is something they need to do if they can move a Martinelli and Nwaneri on and really bring in some proper high-level competition. I think Martinelli has been a fantastic player for Arsenal over a number of years, and every time he's been written off has sort of managed to come in and help them in games, whether that's off the bench or as someone that Mikel Arteta has trusted to start. But now they've won the Premier League title, they want to make a statement in terms of kicking on. They can obviously attract players that they might not have been able to before, having not won silverware like that. And they're, of course, looking to go one extra step in the Champions League. Whether Osimhen's the one to do that, I don't quite know. Vinicius, their pursuit for him as a replacement for Martinelli certainly would have been a player to move the dial. They've obviously not been able to succeed there. It just feels like Arsenal need a big statement arrival, where we're saying United don't quite need that at the moment. Arsenal, to sort of follow on and keep the excitement going and the level going from winning a Premier League title, a player of a standard of Vinicius would certainly get everyone going and keep the pressure on for the competition. Osimhen, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, so Arsenal trying to strengthen up top, but also perhaps trying to strengthen at the back as well, as reported in the Star. Konsa fee is going to be an issue. You see that at the bottom of your page. Arsenal have been back in touch with Aston Villa over a potential deal for Ezri Konsa, but his £60 million price tag is a bit of a big stumbling block, Riyadh. Could this one get over the line? It really feels like Arsenal trying to put all the pieces in place to make sure that they can really defend their Premier League title.
I think Konsa's a good option for them. They've obviously got the Saliba situation to deal with, and you know, Timber's missing from fullback. Konsa's a really good player. The problem I'd have with this is they are quite far apart on valuation by all accounts. I think Arsenal are probably looking more in 40 million range. So it's whether or not they can get that done. They're certainly going to have to improve on where they're at to get there, but it would be a really solid signing. I think when you look at Arsenal's squad on paper and what's gone on with managerial changes at City, at Liverpool, Chelsea being Chelsea, and you know the sort of traditional rivals there, I still think Arsenal, as we sit here today, I think Arsenal are the favourites. I think they've got the best squad, but getting in an extra centre half, because how do you cover for someone like Saliba? It's near enough impossible based on form, right? So it would be a big signing. I think it would be very important to them as well.
Started all 4 of your pre-season games, and you seemed quite emotional in this celebration.
Who was that?
MLS.
Ah, as you say, the striker or the goal scorer?
The goal scorer.
Ah, they were emotional. Well, it's good to score a goal. You should be emotional when you score a goal.
Seemed very emotional. There was a hand gesture, a heart gesture, a tucking of the badge. You must have heard the speculations.
It's a very emotional player. Remember when he did all the gestures on the pitch? So I'm not going to talk about any speculation. If there is a speculation about our players, a good sign. That means that we attract attention and they're doing a good job.
Typical though, isn't it, when the homegrown boys, they become very attached to the crowd, and the crowd become attached to them.
Well, that's a natural thing to happen. We have seen that with many other players here.
Okay, Art from The Athletic.
Just on Miles, in terms of last season, back ends, I think you said there was a point where you were looking at your iPad for hours, deciding your lineups, and then you finally decided you're going to keep it the same and keep Miles in midfield. You stayed in there throughout pre-season. What have you liked about him in that position?
I think he had a really good pre-season. I think we asked him to play in a different position because he played more as a 6, because we lacked all the midfielders, obviously, with international duties, and I think he had a really consistent pre-season.
And on Marley, almost played the whole game at centre-back. What do you like about him as a player and person, and also how do you see his exposure with the first team going this year?
First of all, the courage that he plays with, and second, how fast he learns. Because sometimes at that age, it takes weeks and months sometimes to develop certain things. He picks things really quickly. He's a really smart boy. He really wants it. He's 16 years old. And some of the individual actions that he's done today, I think he was exceptional.
Matt from Evening Standard.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Just on Marley, do you think he's ready to sort of really challenge for first team minutes this season? Is it difficult to try and hold him back, I guess?
It's in and around the first team. We know that obviously the circumstances are what they are. That's the context that is allowing him to play more minutes. He would have other players, it would be more difficult. That doesn't mean that he wouldn't get the chance to do so. But what he's proved in the last few weeks is that that is reliable, and when we want to play, he can do a job.
And obviously he started, Theo started at right back.
Yeah.
Does that maybe also, as exciting as that is that also a sign of the work?
He was really good. I mean, it's a big task to ask the boys at that age as well to play against a really good opponent, especially when you put Marley together to Theo, together with Ethan, together with Max in the same side, you know. But I think with a level of difficulty, they still perform and had a good game.
Tom from London.
Michael, ask you about Ethan. I think that was probably the sharpest we've seen him this summer so far. What's the plan with him this season after the loan last season? Do you see him integrating into the team? Is there a future decision to make still?
He's been really good. Probably what happened on the field on his loan in Marseille wasn't what it was expected, and it was a lot of noise and change around the club. But he looks different. He looks more mature. He's incredible at that age. What 6 months can do to you. A different experience abroad to be on your own, to go through tough times, and just to witness that there is another part of football that you have to be good enough to cope with. And I'm very happy what he's done in pre-season.
Ryan the Mirror.
Mikel, you said at the end of last season that you wanted to be ruthless this summer, both you and the club. Are you happy with where you're at, both in terms of the squad and also in terms of your transfer business so far? Or do you feel there's more that you'd like to do in terms of developing this team?
Well, there is more that we want to do because every time we have an opportunity to improve the squad and bring more quality and depth to the squad, we need to do that. But we are actively trying to do so. The thing in the market, it doesn't just depend on you, and we are very clear on that. But the approach, the will, and the desire of the club, that's unquestionable, and we want to try to do that. But we cannot promise that we're going to do it because, as again, it doesn't only depend on us.
Okay, we'll do the last couple. Isan, Daily Mail.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
With the transfer market and obviously Arsenal being such a big club coming off a title-winning season, in terms of getting them 1% of players, the best players, how hard is that, especially when there's so much competition, so much wage demands and everything else attached to it? It's all good having a will, isn't it? But how difficult is it to